Every morning Henry woke to the same hollow silence. He'd reach out, his hand brushing the cold, empty side of the bed where Margaret once slept, and feel the weight of another day alone settle over him. Retirement was supposed to be a reward. After 40 years as an accountant, hunched over numbers in a dim office, but without her it felt like a sentence. The house creaked around him. Too big, too quiet. The only sound the faint ticking of the grandfather clock down the hall. He'd shuffle to the kitchen, brew a single cup of coffee, the bitter steam curling up to greet him, and sit staring out the window. Most days he'd murmur a few words to Margaret's beloved plants on the sill. "Another gray one today, ladies," he'd say, his voice soft as if they might answer back. They never did. His routine was a well-worn path: coffee, the newspaper, a walk through the park. That's where he'd see them, families laughing, kids chasing each other, lives buzzing with purpose, while he drifted by like a shadow. One chilly afternoon his steps slowed near the old playground. The swings sagged, one chain snapped and dangling. The slide was streaked with rust and graffiti, the sandbox a mess of weeds and litter. He could almost hear his own children's giggles from decades past, now swallowed by neglect. It hit him hard, that sad little corner of the world, so much like himself, forgotten, left behind. Something sparked in Henry that day. Maybe it was the memory of Margaret's voice, always nudging him to get out there. Or maybe it was just a flicker of defiance against the emptiness. The next morning he dug through the garage, pulling out an old toolbox and a couple cans of paint, their lids crusted but the colors still bright. Back at the playground he started small, sanding, down a splintered bench until the wood felt smooth under his fingers. The air smelled sharp with sawdust as he brushed on a coat of blue paint, each stroke steady and deliberate. A young dad pushing a stroller paused. "Looks good," he said, nodding. Henry blinked, caught off guard. "Just a little fix-up," he mumbled, but the man's smile lingered in his mind. Words spread like ripples on a pond. Joe, a retired carpenter with a gruff laugh, showed up with a wrench to fix the swings. A pack of teenagers, all hoodies and shy grins, scrubbed the graffiti clean. A hardware store owner dropped off extra paint, waving off Henry's thanks. Before he knew it, Henry was at the heart of it, scribbling plans on napkins, chatting with volunteers, his old accounting precision finding new life in organizing this unexpected crew. One evening, as the sun dipped low, he picked up a paintbrush again. He hadn't painted since Margaret's passing. Landscapes were their thing, a shared joy he'd buried with her. But now he sketched a mural on the playground wall. Rolling hills, a bright sky, kids playing. His hands trembled at first, then steadied, the colors waking something inside him. Days turned to weeks, and the playground bloomed. The swings squeaked. With fresh chains, the slide gleamed. The mural stretched bold and alive across the concrete. Henry started smiling more, his steps lighter. He'd catch himself talking to the plants again, but now it was different. Stories of the day, not just sighs. "Maggie'd love this, wouldn't she?" He'd whisper to the ivy he'd named after her, and the leaves seemed to nod back, greener than ever. The grand reopening was a Saturday bathed in gold. Kids swarmed the playground, their shrieks and laughter filling the air like music. The scent of fresh-cut grass mingled with the tang of lemonade from a makeshift stand. Henry stood off to the side, hands in his pockets, watching it all unfold. A little girl with pigtails skipped over, clutching a dandelion. "Thank you, mister," she said, pressing the flower into his palm, "for making it so pretty." Her grin was all gaps and sunshine, and Henry's throat tightened. He knelt down, voice thick. "You're welcome, sweetheart." She darted back to the swings, and he stayed there a moment, the flower soft between his fingers, tears blurring the edges of his vision. He glanced skyward, imagining Margaret's proud nod. "We did it, Maggie," he breathed. "We really did." From then on, Henry wasn't just the old man down the street. He was the one who'd sparked something. A gardening club, painting classes, a reason for neighbors to wave and stop by. One evening he sat on that blue bench with Mrs. Jenkins, a chatty widow who'd become a friend. "You've brought us together, Henry," she said, her voice warm as the fading light. He chuckled, ducking his head. Took all of us, I think. They sat there, the playground alive with dusk and chatter, and Henry felt it. Home wasn't just a house anymore. It was this. These people. This purpose he'd stumbled into with a paintbrush and a little hope. Have you ever felt like life's left you on the sidelines? Henry's story shows it's never too late to step back in. One small act, one quiet moment of kindness, it can change everything. What's yours?